Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. Way more World Crasher exploits. Let's get on into it. So this time it is going to be a step-by-step tutorial on how to do them again, because you know we love the World Crasher exploits, am I right? Of course not. So let's talk about them, because there's more and it gets significantly worse than last time. Last time what you were able to do was head into the World Crasher arena, and basically as soon as your lobby was full you were able to basically just invite people in, fill the matchmaking up to 8, and then after you would invite a 9th person in, the game would be like, damn, we can't handle a 9th person, here you two go on your own lobby, and it basically infinite create lobbies. And with this you were able to exploit it and loop it for drops as well, so more trigger mods and stuff like that, but that is a thing of the past now. Nexon fixed that, and nothing but props and appreciation to you, Nexon, for that. Thank you. It was a really bad thing, and the fact that it got fixed is a really good thing. Now this time it gets significantly worse because of course they didn't want any more exploits after that, but 3 more from my knowledge have basically pulled up. Now with this Wall Crasher system, how it's changed, let's talk about that first of all. So with the Wall Crasher right now, the way you get points is basically off damage. Now with this you can basically just, you know, play Wall Crasher, do 1 or 2 things, and you are basically done. Now the way the point system works now is based off damage. So if 4.7 billion damage, the entire health bar is 100%. 90%. Right, let me just write this down real quick. So with this, now the more damage you do is the more points you do. So ideally, there's a few different ways to do this. And the first thing, or the proper thing that you could technically do, is go in with a squad of friends and ask them to run like a debuffer, like Sharon and stuff like that. This, however, doesn't even matter. Debuffers in this is surprisingly what a lot of people are trying to do, because debuffing in this instance will lead to a shadow ban. Now, shadow bans in themselves shouldn't be a problem, but this is where the biggest problem is. Due to the way that this matchmaking now works and the fact that it is damage based, people want to get shadow banned. I'll say that again. People are trying to get shadow banned in order to basically manipulate matchmaking and go in solo. If you fight a Wall Crasher and 4.7 billion HP is 100% of his HP, and that's 10,000 points, every single time you run that Wall Crasher, you want to do as much damage as you can. Other than that, you want to be put into solo. Now, if you were to do 1% of damage, that would be 47 million. 10% would be 470 million. 20% is 940 million. 40% is 1.8 billion. 60% is 2.8 billion. 70% is 3.2 billion. Or 90% is 4.2 billion. And based on that, you'll get points on the percentage. If you were to get, like, let's say 50% damage, let's say you did around 1.9 billion damage in a Wall Crasher lobby, then what you would basically be able to do with that is get yourself 5,000 points. But this is the problem. With shadow banning, people are farming for it. The way that they are doing this is basically going into 400% dungeons and then just AFKing and hoping that people will report them. Going into Spec Ops and just getting themselves reported. Void Vessel is another really popular one. People can get banned quite fast from Void Vessel, so that's another thing that people are in fact doing in this instance. They are trying to get shadow banned so that they can get into here and get 10,000 points every single time the Wall Crasher comes. 240,000 points a day is possible if you do achieve the shadow ban. I believe with shadow ban you get shadow ban for 3 days and then you get shadow ban for 30 days. So 30 days is long enough for your board. And something I don't understand as well is with this Wall Crasher board, we've got 25 days left and it can definitely go a lot more higher with this. So let's talk about the number one. That is the number one spot, or number one way people are exploiting. Let's talk about number two. Now number two is something I can actually not show you because I am a PC player. With console specifically, I believe you can go into your settings and find something regarding matchmaking, and specifically crossplay. Crossplay is a feature that will basically allow you to stop connecting with other platforms. If you turn crossplay off, I'm not 100% sure how the servers work, but I think you get put into a different group of servers. Everyone in the game is in server 1 over here, and then you will move from server 1 to server 2, and you'd be like, I only want to be playing with Xbox or PS players, so you'll get put into server 2 over here, and then when everyone's matchmaking for Wall Crasher, you will be the only one, or very few people will be in that lobby on your own, and you can basically just almost get into a lobby yourself. This is just poor game design, is the best thing I can call it, because this should not be how you get points with the Wall Crasher either. So people are taking advantage of crossplay, specifically on console, because you can't do this on PC, I don't think, to basically you know, pull it and basically get into private lobbies and solo lobbies just naturally through matchmaking, which is not even an exploit technically, but fully being aware of the fact that you can turn crossplay off and basically use that to manipulate the servers to get into a private lobby is in fact an exploit. The bare definition of an exploit is knowing something in the game is not intentionally working as it should be and still repeating and using that as an advantage to yourself. That is the definition of an exploit, and that is exactly what it is. Now let's talk about number 3. That one was for consoles. This one's definitely more towards PCs, but you can absolutely use it on console as well. VPNs. Now, VPNs were not really bothered with last Wall Crash cycle, but this time I think they are a little bit more. People are now using VPNs or virtual private networks to basically spoof their location and make the game think that, you know, you're somewhere where you're not. For example, I live in the UK. I can use a VPN to make the game think I'm in like Korea, for example. I wouldn't do that because this game is popular over there, but you can teleport yourself to the bottom of the fucking ocean, and the game's gonna be like, yeah, he's at the bottom of the ocean, he's balling in the Bermuda Triangle. I don't think there's anyone there. Let's just throw him into his own lobby or something like that, and you basically get your own lobbies that way. And what you can easily do is just invite a friend in if you're running a Serena, and then you can just get them to come in with a Sharon, debuff the crap out of it, and you kill Wall Crasher even faster. Even though you only get points on a one cycle basis based on your damage, you can still get maximum amount of points. This has been confirmed that doing a solo run is 4.7 billion, which is literally the max damage. So yeah, that is the third major way people are exploiting. Now, I want to take into account and mention Nexon themselves here. Now, what I'm going to do is show you an image. Hang on a second, let me pull it up. Let me show you an image. So this image is from a friend that messaged me on Discord. Now this image says, thank you for contacting us, and we apologize about the inconvenience that you've been experiencing. Your account has been identified as having unusual game history and is being closely investigated. So basically, surprisingly, well actually no, to no one's surprise, playing the game and literally using a buffing Descendant can even lead to a shadow ban. So you can see this here. I asked them to just copy the message, but you can see the date and the time here on the message, and confirmation upon subsequent abnormal logs, add to sanctions, stuff like that. In the meantime, you could try inviting your friends and others to private party and matchmaking in private queue. My friend is a solo player, does not like playing with other people, and had to use and went in with a firearm buffing build with Luna for the Wall Crasher, because they detected that they did no damage in Wall Crasher. This is another grounds for a shadow ban. And even this, if my friend did want to do exploits on the Wall Crasher, because now she's getting nothing but solo lobbies, this makes it possible. Shadow bans are something that is technically meant to be a negative, but if you're a solo player or you're trying to exploit Wall Crasher, this does not mean shit. Shadow bans need to be reworked to an extent, And yeah, this is just like insane, because this is just something that should not happen. This is the original message that my friend sent to me, saying that, you know, you're being separated from matchmaking due to having unmanly behavior or being AFK and then stuff like that. So this is something that can definitely happen. So even despite everything, shadow banning, which is meant to be a negative, is now a positive and being used for exploiting. VPNs are now being used to properly exploit, and turning crossplay off on console is being used to exploit. So yeah, we're in a nice position. What do I think about this? I'm not surprised, and I've given up on these boards. Last season, the whole reason, or last cycle on Warcrasher boards, I got knocked off because I refused to exploit. I could have technically gotten on if I'd decided to give up hours of my night sleeping every single day to get back on it, but I'm not putting in time to a game for a leaderboard system where they can't be asked fixing a very clear exploiters, or even getting banned for them, or banning any of said exploiters when it has been inherently clear that they have been exploiting. Nexon, I promise you, even last cycle, anyone that was doing more than 3 or occasionally maybe ever so possibly 4 Warcrasher cycles was not doing them legit. Anything more than that was not legitimate, and it's really not difficult to figure out. If you even look at your database and just monitor it based on the amount of Warcrasher runs done, you'll find out very easily who was exploiting and who was not. It's not very difficult. I've done database management and data analysis. I'm sure you know that I know it's not difficult. Now, how would I say to counter this? To counter this, I would say that, well, counter this is odd. It's scary because you can't counter this in a very simplistic way. You could say that, well, we can just ban you. Yeah, banning people works. However, Nexon wants people's money, and they are very interested in pulling players in and letting them get away with basically anything. So I don't think there's going to be any major repercussions. As for what I do think could be done, preventing entry into public missions, like public only missions, or just completely restricting entry and not letting them run the mission at all would be a very good thing, I reckon. For example, there's only 2 missions in this game that are completely public when it comes to running it. You cannot run the Deathstalker solo, and you cannot run Warcrasher solo. Apart from that, everything else in the game can be done solo. So I'd say just completely nuke restrictions and do not let them enter the Warcrasher, and do not allow them to enter the Deathstalker either. I'm sure you can keep track of the lobbies where people who are shadow banned are playing in, and just add a simple bit of code or something to just basically be like, yeah, this doesn't, this Warcrasher arena ain't landing in this one, boss man, or something like that. Or alternatively, just nuke the leaderboard. Leaderboards on a time-gated boss is not a good idea, especially when you can only fight the boss like 2 or 3 times an hour at this point. It's not a good idea overall, but if you're gonna live with it, then this is my piece. I've said what I've said. Yeah, I was gonna say, have fun. If you exploit, it's completely up to you. I couldn't give less of a fucking shit if I tried. Not my thing. And like I said, I'm not bothering with the leaderboards. If you decide to, go for it. But for the most part, this is something that I don't know whether it's gonna, I don't think it's gonna get fixed for the next month, because based off Nexon, what they've previously shown us is that they do not like fixing problems with their leaderboards, especially with Warcrasher in the past. So yeah, that's basically that. I hope you've enjoyed, guys. I've basically said my piece. Smash that like button, I guess, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.